Hello everyone, I have here the Sanctum Sanctorum 2022 edition from LEGO. I bought this for its retail price of $250, $250 US, and built the whole thing live over on my Twitch channel. This has 2,708 pieces and includes 9 minifigures, including 3 different variants of Doctor Strange. This is built on a 32 by 32 stud base plate, so the building itself is very compatible in size and comparable in size to a medium to large size, I would say, modular building. I'll try to give you a little bit of comparison against a couple of modulars later on. It is almost fully closed up all the way around and is generally intended to look good from any angle, with the exception of this portal. But there are some tricks to that are included in the set. I'll get into that later. But first, let me move the minifigs out of the way and start looking at the details. Out front, the door is flanked by a couple of trees made with a different technique than we've had before, with the stacked candlestick pieces in dark tan and then the seaweed piece in dark tan. Makes for a very effective small tree, and I'm happy that we have those parts available in those colors now. There's the main brownstone style of entrance, very East Coast style of entrance, with very simple rails on the side. Are pretty effective. They do use stickers for the doors there, and the doors are custom built with tiles there, and those open inward. Of course, we'll fully look on the inside. There's a lot of texture around the outside of this, and it's very consistent texture as well, and it looks pretty good. Of course, they've converted this into a corner unit for this, which I think looks nice. I think that you're able to get some good views and have good access for minifigs around here. Now, I'm not going to be able to go through and pick out every single Easter egg in this entire set because there are a ton of them, and I'm not enough of a Marvel fan to be able to catch every single one myself. I'm also just not going to go to a wiki page and copy and paste in audio form all the things there just to make it seem like I know stuff that I actually don't. These clear things are stands to hold on to minifigs. They can be moved around, so anywhere you see something like this, you see a couple of small little connectors up there on the side. Another one of these sticking out here. Those can be moved around to different slots in different places to show minifigs in action poses around the space. The newspaper dispenser here also has some newspapers in it, all using, once again, stickers. There are 3 of these in there. Here's the side entrance, and then there's a trash can, which does have some stuff in it. It's a medium, small-sized build with some more references inside. This is just a printed can top. Hey, come on, focus. Yeah, there we go. And the street lamp here on the corner is in black compared to the old modular building standard of white. Now, speaking of modular buildings, this is intended to connect directly to modular buildings via the standard Technic pin connections. They include the pins in there, but this block right here needed to have this adjustability, and I'm glad they put it in there because the Daily Bugle, the other modular set, or modular compatible set, modular connectable set from the Marvel line, has a mistake in it where the spacing is actually incorrect. So by including one of these faux little boxes, sorry about that, along the back alleyway here, you have that adjustability. So if you have corrected that, or if you just have a regular modular building, you can use the correct spacing. Or if you have the uncorrected Daily Bugle, you can still connect it effectively without making any additional modifications. All these studs on the sides allow you to, again, connect things to have minifigures, sticking out and posed in the air and such all the way around. And then back here is the portal, and that portal takes you directly into the room with the time stone there on a plinth and also spell book in the back. This is actually removable though. Very easy to get out even from the outside. And there's a little bit of storage space up above, like a miniature attic area that we'll be able to look at in more detail from inside. But more stickers are used for more detail inside of here. And I'll also pull out that book so you can see that more closely. This uses 3 stickers, so there's one for the front and 2 inside. The one on the right is done the normal way against a white tile piece to represent a page, and the one on the inside cover here, unfortunately, just doesn't give you that brilliance of white because it's actually a clear backed sticker with white applied onto it, but it's clearly not opaque enough. Now turning around the corner, there's nothing else to really see here detail-wise, just some surface texture and standard spacing for the modular building connectors down here. So let's go ahead up to the next level, which has a similar level of detail. We're just getting a little bit more suggestion of some of the outer casing and or paint that has flaked off here. But this is another little door module or outside wall module similar to this here, but this one right now is organized or is arranged to face inside. So this is actually inside out right now, and this can be turned around to show the Gargantos coming in through another one of these portals, and then this can be adjusted a little bit so that can be facing into the inside area of the building, and you can imagine battles going on in there, or you can have it just coming out to the side either. Unfortunately, this does still use the printed eyepiece that has no additional detail in the iris, so it doesn't quite match what's shown in the official pictures, but it does match what we got in the Gargantos Showdown set pretty much, so I think it's pretty appropriate. And that is kind of a modular thing, so it's nice that you're able to turn that in so it fills in the space there, but you're also able to just put a plain portal here, or you can put the Gargantos down below, and there's one other spot that we'll look at in just a minute. All right, let's take a look at the front of the building here and just see its level of detail, which is pretty nice. Everything is pretty tight here. The building techniques aren't too difficult, too special for, I'd say, most of the exterior. It's pretty straightforward as far as assembly is concerned, but I like the end result and I like the combinations of colors. The corners go together very well with minimal gapping in there. Good use of the double-sided cheese slope pieces. I forget what the official name for those is now, or if that's even particularly valuable, but really helps to make this an essentially gap-free experience going around the corner. And it's smooth and it's pretty seamless, just how it goes together. Arch up here doesn't really do anything. And then coming around to the back, you have a couple of AC units, and these actually operate an action feature on the inside of the building. Got some graffiti over here, and I'll show you what these do. They slide back and forth independently. And that takes me up to this topmost level, which has on the back the Captain America billboard here, which is also attached to another one of these modular pull-out sections, which can also be reversed. So if you don't want to see that, you can push that inside. You can also swap this around to other places like there or over there. However, no matter what, with the pieces included in the set, you're always going to have at least one portal, one hole, one thing that does not cover up one of the walls, no matter how you arrange it. So you would need to supply some of your own pieces, unfortunately. I do wish they'd come with just a handful of additional pieces to convert the generic portal into a generic bit of wall. Sorry about that. More hollow studs so you can stick things in and have minifigs doing fights all around the entire building. Pretty consistent with the colors and textures up here. Nice printed piece for this window, and that fits in there again with very little gapping around it. There's a tiny bit of gap around the base, but it's really nothing to worry about at all. I like the corner. The corner is also done with simple techniques, but it works well. The Mini Cooper little miniature style of fender used in the sand green there for these upper window arches. And then finally the roof. It has some detail on it, but could have used a little bit more just random greebling around there. I like the use of the linear gear pieces along the sides here to provide just a little bit of additional edge texture. And in the back is a small bit of garden. This in particular, I've heard people say that it's probably a reference to Baby Groot, but I don't know. I would say canonically it shouldn't be, but if it is, so be it. It's a twig in a pot. Now let's start looking on the inside. I'll just pull the roof off and have a look down in there. This attic space has plenty of artifacts and also art on display, and yet it leaves enough space for minifigs to be posed around, which I think is very valuable. You need to be able to get the minifigures in there to interact with some of these spaces. Otherwise, it's just kind of a museum piece for us huge figures. Nice to see Sun Wukong's staff over there on the side. But yeah, there's a very nice variety here, and I personally, again, don't recall what each of these things specifically is canonically, but they're definitely recognizable. And to me, the highlights are the scroll in here, which is done with just 3 pieces, a very simple build, and then the return of the realistic styled Viking helmet here in a gunmetal gray. Hopefully they will continue to make more of those. And there's what that cubby is for. It's a cape hanger. Let me pull this level off, and this gets interesting. From here, you can really look down into the building in a way that's unusual for Lego sets. You can see all the way down to the ground, which I just find fascinating. It's a really interesting view here. Typically, with looking at details for minifig scaled, minifig compatible things for Lego, I try to think of what it's like for the minifigures to be there. But in this case, it's just an interesting experience for me personally. There's a little bit of awe involved, and I just want to stare at it for a little while. There are so many windows around here. It lets in a lot of light so you can effectively see all the way down, and it's just a really interesting view, and it feels like, hey, I'm inside of a Lego building. That's cool, and it's just not something that I've really felt before. There's a similar thing that happens when you look in through the portal, or to make things even easier for yourself, just pull this out and use that to get, an even different angle into the whole interior space. Now, it's not going to work when the upper level is on there, and it doesn't work for the upper level either when the roof is on above that. But as soon as you start opening things up, it feels good to just look around. This area is also packed with artifacts, but it's not as well set up as the floor above for minifigs to access and to be posed. Obviously, you can sit a minifig on each of those chairs there, but there's not a whole lot of space for minifigs to be posed just walking around this sort of C-shaped mezzanine up here. Also, the railing, the banisters are only a single brick tall, which just feels very, very awkward. It kind of falls apart as a minifig accessible thing to me. It's good for us to look at, but when you get down to their level, it starts to not work quite as well. I like a lot of the details. I don't mind the stickers, how many of them are here, because every single one of them is a reference or adds in some very useful detail, including on that excellent bookcase back there. One of the best bookcases I think that Lego has ever made. It looks great. A bunch of those do have stickers on the bindings, but you don't need all of those on there. Again, I just think that they do add, every single one that does have additional detail does add for the fact that it has it on there, but just the physical build I think is really good. I would have liked to see lots of this in the bookshop modular rather than a single shelf or a couple of small shelves. Now that door right there, okay, this is important, but it's a little bit difficult for us to see once this is done, unless you take off the whole front end of the building. Like you can fake this up for marketing pictures and for review purposes to show temporarily, but in reality, a person who owns this thing is not going to be able to see that all that well back there. So I'm holding a very bright light to try to get that to be a little bit more visible to you, but without the light, see, yeah, not so good. I'm just trying to let you see what's there to the best of my ability without taking the whole thing apart. So this is where you can slide the AC units on the back to take you to different places. It just has the 3 different scenes with large stickers. It doesn't even go all the way across. I think this could have been arranged just a little bit better. The feature itself, I think, works nicely, just needs a little bit better execution and definitely needs better visibility, because it's great when you build it. You see it, it's good, and then you attach it on here and it's like, I kind of see it still there, but there's another half of the sticker that you're not even seeing, so that's a bit of a waste too. All right, let me take this final level off and look at the ground floor. First of all, again, this is not set up well for minifigures, even random minifigures with no accessories in their hands. You can pose one at the top of the stairs. You can put one here, you can put one over here. You can have them going up the stairs, but as soon as they need to turn here, there's no hope. There's no way to get up the little side bit on the side of the landing there. But all of this, for our sake, as huge figures, all of this can be removed so that we can see more of the details here, right? So this is all accessible to us just not so accessible to the minifigs in general. More prints and stickers. Underneath, we've already seen, this is going to be a little bit difficult to see. We've already seen this area here, but over here you got the fridge. The fridge is actually really cool. It's a good build. Got to pop it out to actually see it though. Got a sticker on the front and it's able to open up. Just a sticker for the inside, unfortunately, just kind of lacking in space also. Just that there. Hard to spot, but down on the ground is a large tesseract type of piece, the Minecraft head in trans light blue, which I don't know what that actually represents, or if it's just a bit of a joke that it's an ice cube, a large ice cube that has accumulated in the back, but it's there. Basic metal shelving here, which isn't really designed to come out all that much, but it has some more artifacts on it, as well as a lost phone, and you have a sticker over there on the wall, which represents a fuse box. All right, coming up to the front, this is an important area that I don't think is done as well as it should have been done, and I think that I've heard this opinion shared by many people up to this point. There's just not enough space leading up to the grand staircase there, and the grand staircase itself has inconsistent height of the stairs. So the bottommost one gives you just a very short rise, and then it quickly accelerates into steeper individual steps as it goes up. That was kind of necessary as a compromise to get it to fit even within this space, but it's just that the doors open right to there, and then they're almost touching the bottom stair, and there's no stud there. There's no place for a minifig to be held in place. The doors themselves, it's got to be lined up just right, but that's fine. It just doesn't allow you to get that grandeur, to experience the grandeur. Just looking in the front, as soon as you step off the front stoop outside, you're at the stairs. You're at the bottom of the stairs. Now the areas to the side, I'm fine with. You got enough room to move around there, and I got the globe. A couple more stickers used up on the sides. Good handrails. Very good handrails. Good small lamps. Grandfather's clock over there. Another sticker. Couple more stickers. Small chair. Like that's all good. Could have used some more spots for minifigs to attach their feet, but you can see a couple there with the jumpers. But just overall, it's really awkward for me to even rotate this around and show it to you. It's okay for us to get our hands around the sides. Just for minifigs though, I kind of feel bad for them. I mean, you walk right in here again. You walk in. Now you can't even close the door behind you. Seriously, you got to start going up the stairs. A couple, and you can close the door behind you. All right, you can have a figure standing in a corner over there like that. It's a little bit cramped, but it's not too bad. And then all these spots over here, there are no studs. So yeah, it's a little bit lacking there. Probably could have used another, in my estimation, another 4 studs of depth to this to make this work out better, even using the compromise techniques, the tricks that they use there to try to get more to fit into a smaller space. But that would have added so many pieces going all the way up through all 3 floors, would have added so much to the cost. I really need to work on getting through minifigures more quickly than I have in the past. So here on the left is Doctor Strange, in the middle is Dead Strange, and on the right is Sinister Strange. Notice that Sinister Strange uses the exact same hip and leg prints as the normal, well, what we call normal Doctor Strange. On the left there, and the set does come with a full set of the trans orange blast and splat parts. You'll see the spares in just a minute. I've got the cape on right now, but of course it's thankfully very easy to pop that off the way that it's made. And looking at the alternate faces here, you do get them for only 2 of these characters. I will say that the torso prints look a little bit flat to my eyes, need a little bit more pop, a little bit more definition. Here are Wong, Iron Man with the Mark 50 suit, and Spidey on the right. Good graphic design for Spidey. Colors and color saturation, especially for the arm print there, still not great. Still not ideal. You know, the red just it really needs to be better. No print on the sides of the other two characters, but you do get at least the dual molded legs for Spidey. This is the new version of helmet for Iron Man, which I personally like. I think that it works out well. I think that it has mostly received hate from some folks in the community because it is different. I think if this is what we had started out with in the first place, I think it would still be enjoyed and appreciated today. And thankfully for this helmeted character, they do include a hairpiece, which I always want to see. Too bad we don't get a little bit of hair. Like they need a tiny bit of hair piece, just a very, very short hair piece. But I don't know if they could possibly make it thin enough for characters like Wong. And finally, Master Mordo, Scarlet Witch, and Ebony Maw over there on the right. I think that all three of these really could have used some prints for their legs, because there's great detail up top. The Ebony Maw one looks a little bit down in resolution, just the graphic design work, whereas the Wanda one, the Scarlet Witch one looks the most detailed. They just don't have a good consistency of style, I think, between them. But it's really obvious that you could have used a little bit more going down there. Mordo looks great to me. Nice hairpiece, nice single hole cape in sand green, actual sand green, alternate face there. Easy to flip this up to see more really good detail. Nice definition in there. A little bit of the hair on the back here, so no alternate face, of course, for Ebony Maw, and this is the alternate face for Wanda. Almost looks too calm and nice. Almost, I feel it should have come with an alternate hairpiece that's just hair for her or something to match that facial expression. Tons of leftover spare pieces over here, the usual stuff, and then all of this, which is intentionally included extra action effect pieces, including this 1x2 clear brick just to cause some levitation for somebody like Ebony Maw. These are used for Iron Man, extra web shooter piece, and then looking at sticker sheets. Yeah, sticker sheets plural. This is the clear backed one. There's also a white backed one, even though all of these stickers here, as you can see, were clearly printed white backed on the clear back base. So then you get all of these white backed ones. It was a strange decision, in my opinion. I feel like this really should have been a larger white backed sticker sheet, at least to cover some of these things. It's just weird. As promised, here's a normal modular building, and I intentionally picked one of the not so short ones here to give you some fair different sorts of comparisons. And again, these would just go side by side like that. That's actually not a bad little alley space there to me, although the depth of the sidewalk here is a little bit lacking overall. And if I put them together like this, there's another option. Here's a recent one that's relatively small. It has some height there, but the overall volume of stuff here is down a little bit compared to the last one. Just to look at total mass and size of these things in general. I'll also put this on the other side, and it goes a little something like that. And then with the most recent one here, the boutique hotel, this actually creates some nice spaces. There's definite synergy between the sand green tops and, similar, I guess, very, very similar color schemes overall. But when you look at around from this angle, see all this flat space back here isn't as interesting, but kind of depends on where this would be on your layout. I think this could look really good. Switching them around, I don't like this as much. Yes, things get much tighter with the flat side to flat side there, but you have this change in depth of the sidewalk here, and I don't know, it almost feels like they're trying to be too similar, but they're dissimilar enough that it doesn't work as well to me. Last but not least, shockingly, I still have the old one, so you can compare the size of the old and new if you're doing a value comparison between them. Of course, this one was able to swing out like this, but it's just a two-sided small building. It's effectively 16 by 16 square for the old. And even when you look at the narrow side of this, still, as soon as you get honest about it, it's a heck of a lot more here. To think about value, look back at a couple of the modular buildings that I just showed you. The boutique hotel was $230, already felt really overpriced at the time when it first came out. And it has 300 more pieces than this. Go back to the police station. That was $200 US last year. So don't give me but over the past 3 years has been so much. No, last year, that police station with 200 more pieces than this was $200. This is $250 US. Also, Lego has shown repeatedly, the data has shown that Lego spreads their licensing costs across their entire product line. They don't add the licensing costs to each individual product. So because Disney is a lazy and plebeian excuse for the price of this one being higher, they priced this where they did because they think that they can get that much money for it. And it's not because of people who only want the minifigs. They're not forcing anybody to buy a $250, $250,000 thing, right? Just to get one particular exclusive minifigure or something like that. No, anybody who is experienced with Lego collecting and wants figures can just go to Bricklink and get the exact figure that they want. Nobody's being forced to buy all of this. So that no, Lego is not setting the prices based on the inclusion of one specific figure. They're setting the price, set it way back in advance, like 2 years ago is when the price for this was set before it was even designed. They're setting the prices based on the price ranges that they want to have on the market at a given time and how much that they think they can get for it on the whole, in total. This is just an expensive modular building with a decent selection of figures. I think it's a good modular building. I think that folks who don't care anything about Marvel, especially MCU, can still look at this seriously because I think that it lines up nicely, really nicely with other modular buildings, depending upon, exactly where you put it. It just really needed a solid wall to replace this here. That's it. It would be a perfect modular, in my opinion, just as it is. Now, as the Sanctum Sanctorum in particular, definitely compromises were made, and I already talked about that. This definitely could have used more depth to it. I think without even adding more interior detail, I think the interior details could have been just spaced out, mostly needed more lobby space right inside of the main door area. And then everything else could have been just spaced out, but the exterior details would have had to be increased significantly, which probably would have increased the price. I would like to see this as it is right now, personally, at a maximum of $200 in 2022, accounting for inflation, accounting for Disney, accounting for minifigures, accounting for 18 plus modular building, accounting for all that. I would like to see this at $200 tops, which is already going to feel expensive to me, but relative to Lego things in general, which I already accept are expensive always, for the amount of plastic that you get, yeah, 200 is where I'm at. It's $250. I think plenty of folks who can afford a toy building for $200 are going to allow themselves to go up to $250, and that's why Lego is able to keep increasing prices as much as they do. So the proof will be in the pudding. If this thing sells, good for Lego and its owners. Overall, as a consumer, as someone who does not have unlimited money, I would like to see these things a lot cheaper. Yeah, but really nice thing, nice building experience, enjoyable. Needs more space on the inside, more considerations for minifigs, but has really good considerations for us huge figs. I'm happy about that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again soon.